Hey, this is Rui Macarico, and you're listening to the Halftone Effect.
Hey Halftoners, it's Brendan from D's Comics here. You might remember me from such podcasts as The Halftone Effect, featuring Brendan from D's Comics.
No, they're all thinking I'm so wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. Think I'm just too wide and nerdy.
Well, I'm here to tell you, at D's Comics, we love comics. We really love comics. We really love comics. We're proud to be a comic shop that's all about comics and stories. Sure, we have a great range of collectibles, merchandise, and things, but the thing we love the most is sharing stories with the comic-loving community. Things are nice, of course, but it's the stories that bring us together. Pop into D's next time you're in Canberra and share some stories, or check out our website or social media by searching D's Comics Canberra. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks, guys.
Think I'm just too wide and nerdy. I'm just too wide and nerdy. Look at me, I'm white and nerdy.
Welcome to another adventure of the Halftone Effect.
Save us!
Oh no!
Welcome back, everyone, to the Halftone Effect. I am your humble host, Kieran Jack, and tonight I am joined by the very special guest, Rui Macarico. How good am I? Seriously. Welcome to the podcast. Well done. For anyone who is unfamiliar with Rui's work, he is a up-and-coming artist in the Australian comic books industry. He has previously worked on one of my comics, and if you are familiar with the Australian convention scene, then you would have seen his kick-ass artwork at his stall under Red Unit Inc. And yeah, it's great stuff. Rui, we're going to jump into talking about where this all started for you. I'd love to hear the origin story of your journey into the comic book world. Where did it start for you, like in comics? And
This is a tough one because I've always been really young. So one of the earliest memories I have is obviously watching the Tim Burton Batman on VHS, which, funny enough, I thought the Batman logo was actually golden teeth. And still to this day, I'm like, why is the negative space pronounced on the Bat logo? On the Bat symbol?
wow,
Look at it. It looks like the golden bit is sticking out.
I need to look at this now. You've like triggered my my curiosity.
It makes me mad.
Just flicking through, trying to. I picked the worst comic all. I've got the Dark Knight Strikes Back. It doesn't fucking.
No, just specifically the Tim Burton.
Oh,
Batman.
the Tim Burton one.
Batman logo. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Give me a sec.
the golden one.
Yep. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Because little flicks at the bottom of the tail. Yes.
Because it goes over the gold and not the. It's just it does my head in. Yeah, still to this day, I'm like, that's golden teeth. That's not Batman.
Did those teeth scare you, or?
No. I was just confused by it. But the movie, I loved that movie. Batman was just like, I had all the Batman toys, and then Batman Returns came out, scared the absolute shit out of me. Can I swear in the
Of course, yeah. Originally, we didn't. We never used to swear because we were keeping it kid friendly. And I was like, kids watch Rick and Morty. I mean, they're not going. It's fine. It's probably not just.
Yeah,
we're probably at a limit, not the C-bomb. That's probably
No,
about the limit, I'd say.
It just scared the absolute crap out of me. And then Batman Forever. So I was a big Batman fan when I was young. Star Wars fan too. But the thing that got me into drawing was Dragon Ball Z.
Okay. So manga.
Yeah.
Yep.
I started drawing a lot of Dragon Ball Z, like copying from the TV. I used to do the thing where every morning, I don't know if you knew Cheese TV.
Yep. Familiar with Cheese TV. Yep.
I'd put the VHS in, start recording, and then eat the newest episode. And then when the tape was done, I would draw the cover on the VHS of what the episodes were about.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, with like colored pencil and stuff.
Yeah,
great.
It sounds like a very similar origin story to a few other people that I know that have been on the podcast before. They're very much that They grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, and they
Was Jackson?
Jackson was. I was about to say it's
I
a friend. It's a
knew
friend
it.
thing. I think it's the group that we are in. They're very much the same. Jackson. I think even Porto was the same. He did it.
Although, yeah, definitely. There's so much Nickelodeon Cartoon Network in his work that I'm just like, yeah, you definitely grew up with the twisted Coward the Cowardly Dog sort of.
So yeah, you had your start in the cartoon side of it. When did the comic book factor come into it for you?
There was one time, I think I was about 12, where my uncle took me to the city. Unfortunately for me, it was hard to find comics. Like it was very, very rare for me to find comics, especially like the news agencies near my area didn't have that sort of stuff. It was annoying because I really wanted to, read comics. I knew comics existed, but I couldn't find any. Um, and then my uncle took me to the city after he heard me talking so much about comics and stuff, and we went and into a comic book store, and he was like, pick 10
Wow.
from this like gigantic like comic book store that had everything. So I picked up not the death of Wolverine, the end of Wolverine, which was the first comic I ever got, which I got signed by Hugh Jackman while he was doing the Logan press
Holy
tour.
shit! Really? Wow.
Yeah,
That's
I've got
cool.
it signed, Frank. Yeah, and I got a bunch of Extremis comics and some Batman ones. I can't remember which Batman ones actually, but Batman eventually became a very strong
The
influence.
Extremist. That's Iron Man, but I'm
Iron
trying
Man.
to think of the year. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is that 2003?
I think so. It wasn't new.
Oh,
It
okay.
wasn't
So this is
new,
the trade, was it? Yeah.
but
Okay.
it
Yep.
was
Yep.
around
Yep.
that time.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, they were still singing.
There were
Yeah.
single
Yeah. It would have been
issues.
around
They went
2003
to
from my memory. Yeah.
Yeah, but this place just had like
Yeah.
comic, like single
Back issues and
just like
yeah,
everywhere.
cool. Do you remember what comic book
Yeah.
store it was?
And then I think it was Comic
Yeah.
Kingdom.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't exist anymore,
Oh,
but a lot of these, it's sad. A lot of them don't exist anymore here in Australia.
Man, the ones that I went to as a kid in Melbourne, they're all gone. There's it's a very tough time for comic books in this world we're living. I mean, the stores are suffering more than any of them, rather than the actual publishers. But I mean,
Everything's going digital.
yeah. I mean, if that even sticks around for what I believe will possibly change very soon, I don't even know if we'll have digital anymore.
Oh, really?
Rumor is it takes the grain of salt that they reckon that it'll DC will either go to just graphic novel format,
Oh, okay.
and they could quite possibly handball it off to either IDW or another distributor, with the AT&T merger. So
Right.
there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to, but it does feel that way from what I've experienced over the weekend with DC fandom.
Oh, yeah. DC fandom was weird, man. I thought they'd be selling like variant issues of like comic books and stuff like that in their merchandise, but it was shockingly bad.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard this week there was one of the biggest comic book releases for probably the last few months, which is the Three Jokers.
Yes, yes.
And apparently they didn't mention that at all
Yeah.
over the whole fandom weekend. It's like this is one of their biggest events for one of the biggest villains they have for IP, and they pretty much didn't say squat about it. So it actually indicates where that company's going in the future, which is sad. But for me, as an indie creator, and for yourself, that to me is an opportunity to see is what they let go
The
of.
thing is, I think mainstream comics are disappearing, but I honestly think it's going the way of like cartoons, where you're getting this more like obscure, weird, original comics coming out that are becoming more popular than the Batman cartoon series or the Spider-Man cartoon series. Like now it's like, it's kind of like how Cartoon Network was back in the day.
Yep. Yeah, no, I hear you, man. And the thing is, like, movies are coming out they were coming out every 3 months. There was a new superhero movie coming out every month at one stage. But, when people are getting it as movies, they're not interested in going back to the source material. Sorry, I cut you off there. You're telling me about your experience, and we've jumped into a whole other subject. But you obviously you were able to go and pick those comics. Is that what triggered it for you? Is that where you're like, wow, and
Oh yeah, I was like, wow. But yeah, my I don't know if you know, but the Extremist comics had a very, very well rendered art style, and I was only drawing like Dragon Ball Z manga style, which is very simple. So when I started to try and copy that, I was a kid that was praised a lot for my drawing. So I had developed quite an ego while I was young about how good I was drawing. I was drawing like Yu-Gi-Oh cards and all that. And then when I started to try and render out certain things, in my head, it'd just be terrible. I'd be like, nah, it doesn't look exactly the same. And that I just went back to sort of manga style for ages, but I still love the stories. It then stuck with me for a bit. And then I stopped drawing in high school completely. Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, I think
video
it's
games kind of took
it
over.
is for those of us who, well, I can speak from personally. It's the same for me. I stopped drawing when I got to high school, and probably for about 5 years, I just didn't. Well, no longer than that. It's probably about 10 years that I didn't draw until I was 22, 23. I got back into it.
Yeah, mine was about 6 years. I stopped drawing. I got back into it just before high school ended because I decided, my friends and I, we were talking about like this really cool story, and I was like, what if we're all superheroes? And then we started explaining what our superhero powers would be like. And then I was like, I'm going to draw them. So I started drawing them. Interestingly enough, at the same time, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do after high school. And I decided, mainly because, patriotism and playing a lot of Call of Duty, I was like, I'm going to join the army. So I was actually going to go to a seminar to basically enlist. And on the same day, my auntie gave me a pamphlet to do a game design course. Yeah, so I decided to do that. And when I went there, it's pretty much half of the subjects were drawing, like figure drawing, composing images and concept art, and really, really fun stuff that really let my creativity flourish, which I never got to do beforehand. Then after that, I just started drawing more fan art and posting stuff on Instagram, and here we are.
So, with the gaming course, so it was just the art development in that? Oh, everything.
No, it was everything. It was a really weird course. Yeah, it did. Yeah, it wasn't the best structured course. I'm not going to name what place it was just in case I get sued, but it was yeah, it was weird. It started off with just being there was a whole course of how to be creative. I was like, okay. And then there was really useful ones. Like I really learned how to figure draw through like a mentor that I had. His name is Tim McEwen.
I know Tim. I know Tim.
He was actually a coach.
Yeah, I know Tim. Wow, so he was one of your teachers, was he?
Yeah, he taught me how to draw.
Wow, okay. Because I knew he had a degree
He
in
was
teaching.
one of my lecturers, yeah.
But I didn't realise that he was doing that part of it, obviously, when you were coming through the ranks. So, holy shit. Tim's a great guy, man. He's just a genuine person in the industry.
So the dude has like Wolverine genes. Like he showed a video of him on I can't remember if it was Cheese TV. Yeah, it was Cheese TV. And he looked exactly the same. And it was like almost 20 years ago.
He's aged like a good
Yes, he
red
has.
wine. Tim's great. Look, I've come to know Tim through the convention circuit, and when I was starting out, he was very kind, and I always asked for feedback, and because of his influence in the industry, he was very generous to give me some feedback on where I could improve, and ever since then, it's just been, it doesn't have to be a close relationship, but you're able to talk to him, and yeah, he's a great guy. But you just blow my mind, man. I didn't realize that. That's awesome to hear that you had your starting with
and
Tim.
now you kind of understand where my even more of my comic book fascination continued with having mentors and lecturers like him. I also got to work with, or was taught by the storyboard artist for the Wolverine. Yeah, so a guy worked on that. He was really cool. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to have some really, really talented people, skillful people.
And I mean,
around me.
like that's good, because that means that you've got a bit of an upbringing and you've been able to absorb the information that is around you. And I always think that anyone that's in an industry where they've got people who mentor them, they're able to rise from that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was young, and I wish I picked their brain a lot more, because just because I was too stubborn.
And yeah, but that happens,
just like-
man.
I was like, no, I want to do video games, and Tim was like, dude, you should do comic books, and I'm like, no.
Did
I wanna
he
do
ever
video
show you his
games.
comic? Greener Pastures?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep,
Greener
yeah.
Pastures, yeah. He drew with
Oh,
us.
it's like he would have definitely been.
We had figure models come in, and I had never seen a naked woman in my life at that point. And then he was like, yeah, a naked lady's coming in, so like become a professional. And he really like also taught me to look at things from like a different
Okay.
way. Look at things like their shapes. And yeah, it was such a good time.
Wow, that's cool,
with
man.
Tim.
I didn't know that. You've really blown my mind that you had to start with him, and he's a pretty
Yeah.
big figurehead in the Australian comic book community. So that's awesome, dude. That's really cool.
Yeah, Tim, if you're listening to this, I've yet to no, I have actually done a comic book, but we'll talk about that soon. I've yet to publish a comic book.
I don't think you're far away from it, man, to be honest.
I've got some ideas that I'm playing with, but I need time.
Well, that's a big factor of it. Trust me,
Yep.
it's a big factor.
Yep. So that now brings me to conventions. I started off 2016 was my first Supernova convention to
Yes.
get a booth.
Yep. So you had previously, obviously, you'd been going to the conventions, because
Oh yeah,
I didn't know
loved it.
you personally, but I knew you from the cosplay circuit. See,
I
but did
wasn't
you
a
do some
cosplayer.
cosplay with Cosplay Chris for a time?
That was
Was
no,
it
that
really?
after. Yeah,
I
yeah.
swear to God, I'd seen you around in cosplay before, though, because I used to do cosplay prior to that.
Oh, it was one. Oh, I kind of dressed up
Yeah.
a little bit when I had my
Yeah.
booth. I dressed up as Nathan Drake because I thought I'd look like him. And
And did you? That's the important
did I
question.
look like him?
Did you pull it off?
I thought I did.
And that's all that matters.
It's all that matters. And then
Exactly.
I did the big one, which was the Pirate Nightwing, but that was much later.
Yep. Okay.
But yeah, I started off 2016.
Yep.
And that's also the same year that I ran into Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, dude, I want to draw like stuff for you.
Yep.
And he was like, yeah, man. Because he was also, I didn't even realize, but he was also not as big. I thought he was like pretty big. So I was like, I'll get to work with a YouTuber.
Yeah. Okay.
And at first it was like really professional. But then, I don't know, we just became friends, started talking a lot of smack about just all sorts of things. And he asked me to design his Red Hood helmet,
Okay.
which I was like, whoa, this is so out of my comfort zone. But I did. And I was like, all right, this is your chance to shine, Rui. Do something very different. And people loved it. So it was interesting. And yeah, I did some fan art for Chris. And that was the year that I felt terrible for the other people having booths, because Chris and Laura, they were guests at my booth, because I was like, just do a signing, meet and greet for an hour. Little did I know that a lot of people will show up, and we basically had that alley just blocked.
Yeah, I think I remember you telling me this story, and it was. I can understand your feeling.
I felt so terrible. I went past and I bought, like, I apologized to the artists next to me, and I was like, I'll buy some of your art, and I bought some of their art that I was originally gonna buy. It wasn't like a pity buy.
No, but at the same time, that's the name of the game. You can't get bogged down if you've got sales. If you've got the hustle happening and your counterparts next to you either side don't have that happening for them.
No, but I felt bad because it wasn't necessarily my hustle. It was just them showing up and their fans coming past to say hello.
That's the name. That's honestly, man. That's to me. That's the name of the game.
Yeah. I was less cutthroat back then. I'm a lot more now.
Lot
more now.
What's that?
I'm grizzled.
You're seasoned.
Yeah.
By the way, you're seasoned from the conventions. What are conventions? Because I'm not familiar with them anymore. I've forgotten what they are.
What is it?
What is it? What are conventions? I'm new to this language, this lingo. What are they?
Conventions.
It's been a whole 8 months since the last convention.
I miss it, man.
It is painstakingly.
I miss the atmosphere. Sorry.
I like I was saying when we were talking the other night about this, but it's I don't think I need them as much as what I thought I did, but also I do miss them for the camaraderie with us, catching up with all you guys, and also getting to see the people who actually enjoy your art and appreciate what you do. That's really something.
Yeah, I like-minded people. Like, it's weird because I don't know about you, but being an artist or being creative and liking comic books when we were growing up, you were considered the outcast.
Very much so. Yeah.
And now it's like a cool thing, and everyone loves you because you're like, oh my god, you're so knowledgeable on Batman. I'm like, no, that's weird. It's weird that I know which comic books every Batman movie is loosely based off.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it still is a very weird notion that it is considered mainstream in the modern world.
Yeah.
But in the convention world, we're at the top. We're at the top of the chart, basically. People
Top
want
of the
to
food chain.
exactly throw up some gang signs. Yeah.
We're the lions of the convention circuit.
We're in the belly of the beast. We really are when it comes to hustling, though. But yeah, it's such a weird reality to live in now, because like you think about it, and you're like, I bled for this shit when I was a kid. Like, I literally bled because I got beaten up for this shit.
I was a fat, tall kid. No one messed with me.
There's that. I was a skinny, short kid, so
Oh yeah, that's the
my ass
target.
too. But I was your every American High School movie.
Hey,
I was your nerd.
did you
But
also
yeah,
like pop punk or punk rock?
what's that?
Did you also like pop punk or punk rock?
Yeah, I
Oh,
did. But
that's it.
that really didn't take over until I was in my later teens,
Oh, okay.
where I stopped giving a shit.
I was like, that's another target
Well.
where I grew up, at least.
Yeah, well, that was another target on my back when that came into effect. But that's a whole other story. I mean, yeah, it's just such a weird world living now that
Yeah.
we're appreciated for our for our knowledge and for our art. And I honestly, man, I eat it up. I eat every second of it up. I love it. It's so fun. Even now, even when we're away from the convention circuit, I've been doing Kickstarters. You've been doing Twitch. Other guys have been doing their social media hustles. I mean, there's a buzz from what we do, even if we're not at conventions. And we'll get back to it. There will be a day when we'll get back to it. We've just got to be patient. But it's a buzz.
When the whole COVID thing happened, to be honest, just the fact that there's no conventions, not the COVID thing, is a blessing in disguise for me, to be honest.
Dude, yeah, I agree with you 200%, because it's stopped the world.
Yeah.
And for me, it's been more of a creative bubble to be able to just fucking probably work harder than I normally do when I'm between conventions.
Yeah. It's like you miss it, and then you realize why you miss it, and then you realize what you need to do for when it comes back. And something that I realized that I really enjoyed about the convention circuit is something that I carried on to Twitch, was to create a community of just people, like-minded people. So was it last week? No, this Monday. Wow, this whole week's a blur. This Monday I did a live stream. I do live streams where I draw. I just draw, and I have a bunch of people on, and we just talk. It's like a unfiltered, with no topic podcast. That's exactly the same as the podcast that I do, but with more people.
Yeah. I'm going to come on there and try and get some of your audience then, because I got fucking nobody when I was doing it.
Dude, you gotta jump on with us. Well, it's not like a lot of people. I had like nine or 10 people.
Still more than I had when I was doing it.
Yeah, you just need people on with you.
Yeah, true.
That's the thing. You need people to bounce off of.
So what you're saying is I just need friends, which basically I don't have.
Excuse me, I'm right here.
You've got your own thing to hustle though. That's the problem.
Dude, it's like what Matt and I did
Yep.
was he was on his live stream
Yep.
doing his art, and I was on mine, and we were just chatting.
Do you find it very hard to do it that way though?
No,
No?
because he doesn't have to show my screen, and I don't have to show his.
So when I started Twitch, for example, I was doing it with a mate who was a gamer, and so we had this stupid idea at the time, and now I think back to it, it's like it's fucking stupid. But it was what you did is he was playing. Oh fuck! What was he playing?
Fortnite.
No, it wasn't Fortnite. It was some really simplistic game. I can't remember what it's called.
Fortnite.
No, it wasn't Fortnite. But anyway, he was building it. He was building these things and is it RuneScape? RuneScape. Might have been RuneScape.
RuneScape.
Yeah. And it was all these mythological creatures in it. So I was like, all right, well, you play that, and while you're playing that, I'll be up in the top screen and I'll be drawing one of the characters. Fucking hell, that was bad. It was real bad. And I was like, yeah, okay, this isn't working. But yeah, I don't know. I just didn't find my stride with Twitch. But you seem to, man. Like, you seem to be like hustling hard on it, which is really cool to see.
I've kicked into a gear that I haven't discovered in a while. It's just kind of like I found a purpose, and I've also found separate avenues to sort of make it work for me.
Yeah, okay.
Which is I get to do whatever I want. I'm not catering towards anyone specific. If I want to draw Batman, I'll draw Batman. If I want to draw some pop art where it's just a sketch of a person crying tears of color, then I'll do that, you know? It's and I think that in that way I haven't sort of put myself into a corner with my audience where they're there to see a specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're there to see what I come up with
Yeah, right.
and my art. And that's really something that, like, I really not formulated it, but I directed it towards it being more about my personality and my art style rather than the content.
And catering, yeah. You're not catering to the masses, which is probably what my downfall was.
Well, that's a lot of people's downfall, and there's a very, very, very popular artist that is currently in that downfall that people, whenever that person releases some original art, they're like, yeah, but what about Batman? You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fuck, that's rough.
A lot of people like that. A lot
Yeah.
of, and I dare I say, some artists that are friends of ours could also be stuck in that bubble.
Yeah. I see it's the opposite of me. No one gives a rat's ass about my comics, which is cool. But
Nah, dude, are you kidding me?
as soon as I put something like Ahsoka on there or
Oh yeah.
or
that's-
Batman, it quadruples my following and my like.
That's same as me, but that's why I sprinkle in that sort of stuff, but through my choice, not
Yeah.
through their choice.
Yeah, look, and it is it's a tough game, man, and it's not for everyone.
No.
I mean, I've seen a lot of people come and go over the last 5 years that I've been in the community, and especially in the comic book community. Like, it's not an easy game, and I think, and we've talked about this before, you and I have, but it's about how you plan it out, and you have to have a 5-year plan at least for where you're going with this. Otherwise, you're just shooting from the hip, and it could cost you at the end of the day your own money.
Mm-hmm.
And it could cost you your own health and sanity. So
Especially if you put so much weight on it. Like, it's fine if you don't have a plan and you're just doing it to do it, you know?
Yep.
And you're living your life around it.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
I think there's definitely a business strategy to it, and you have to be smart about it. And a lot of the group,
Like, I've recently developed a strategy for it.
and that's smart, man. And I think where you're going, and I know where you're going with it, it's a really smart avenue. It's a different avenue than what anyone else is doing in Australia. I don't know what it's like overseas for that kind of market. It seems like it's huge, but where you're going with what you're doing it's a smart move.
Thank you.
And
There's a lot of thought and a lot of planning and a lot of just the boring stuff that people don't think of to do and don't want to do.
there's always going to be mundane shit with any job that you have in life. It's always going to be mundane.
This was like figuring out business plans, social media plans, you know,
And
the technical stuff. It was just like
yeah, it's the nitty gritty of where you got to get your hands dirty, even if you don't want to. From the top of my head, you know what I do for my stuff. It's every second year I come up with a new business plan to keep my motivation going on where I'm going with it. But it's websites, it's ABNs, it's bank accounts, it's social media, it's content, it's planning what you've got coming out, it's planning tax, it's planning these podcasts, it's planning conventions, and you know that I do a lot of conventions. It's juggling a family life, it's juggling friendships, which pretty much go down the toilet. But at the end of the day, it's purely for the fucking love of doing this. And if I get to make money at the end of it, well, that's just the icing on the cake.
when you win, right?
A lot of people said to me, like, they've come to me and said, why are you doing so many comics? It's because I fucking love making comics. I don't have any ambition to work for the big guys, but I've got an ambition to create my own stories and have so much fun doing it.
It's like you make comics for the number one person. You.
Myself. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if you get to each issue towards the end, I get fucking sick of it. I'm not going to lie. Drawing 20 pages, it does become mundane. But it is the fun of doing it once you see that.
But that's when the stubbornness.
Exactly.
When you're like, no, I chose to do this.
And you've
finish it.
experienced that with me. For anyone's listening, if you don't realize it, Rui actually did the cover for one of our short stories called "The Demon of Makeout Point," and
So
it
much
was,
fun.
and it was
So
great
much
to see. And I think that's what I'm enjoying now as well, is seeing my friends and my creative peers work on my stuff and bring their own spice to it, I guess.
I can only imagine what that's like.
Yeah, dude, it's so much fun. And like, it was great to see you kind of craft your own style in my world. And I've said to you, I'm going to have you back again on another project.
Oh yeah, we're gonna work again.
It's always, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the joy of having, I've had Pauldo on it, I've had Jackson on the project, I've had yourself. I want to get, I think I made a comment in one of our group chats, like I want to get all of the guys on to do something, because it's just the buzz of having you guys on. Camillo's doing next issue in Purgatory, of course. Yeah, so he's nearly finished it too. It's like
a whole issue.
So issue 6 is no, sorry, he's not doing the whole issue. He's doing 4 pages, and what I've given him, without spoiling it, is probably the most pivotal point in the comic, I guess, series so far. So he's got a bit of weight on his shoulders, but from what he's been showing me, it's like dude's got it in the bag. So it's so cool seeing all you guys work on my IP, basically. But at the same time, I won't forget it. I don't want to forget it either. I know that if and when anything was to happen with these stories, that I wouldn't forget the people that kind of
dude, I wouldn't blame you if you forgot.
Were there to support me through it. Oh no, I won't forget. I never forget my roots and where I came from. And I think that that's part of the journey. I think it's half the fun of getting friends in the community who are like-minded and enjoy it.
I like, after conventions, just a bit of baseball talk of what we do behind the scenes. We go out for dinner sometimes.
Yeah.
And we go out for drinks and we just hang out, and it's
we drink far too much, but yes.
I haven't been there when you guys are drinking far too much, but I'd love to be.
Well, it's going to happen. I can tell you that once everything kicks back into gear, it's
you'll find me there, man.
And then you'll find me under the convention table next morning.
Jackson has shown up extremely late once to a convention. It was a terrible one.
Yeah.
Only him and I were in it out of everyone. He showed up at like 11 a.m. and then left early.
Was this?
Yeah, it was RTX.
Was that Rooster Teeth? Yeah. That was the same weekend that I knew Jackson, but I hadn't actually got to hang out with him, and so Pauldo and Austin introduced me to him, and so he came back to our hotel and drank till 3 a.m. in the morning. Mate, that was because there was a scene because me and Pauldo were doing the Walker Stalker Con, and fuck, man, that was horrendous. We pulled up so fucking horrible that day.
Jackson was a mess.
Yeah, because we polished off 2 bottles of Jameson. No wonder.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, well, there's 3 of us.
Got a party with you guys one day.
Yeah, it's always it happens no matter what. At any convention you go, I'm not going to outdo myself, and then end up outdoing yourself.
No, and we're not talking about art this time.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. If anything, sales go down because you're too busy trying to fucking not spew up all over your art.
If you should look at the person or look at the ground.
just take what you want. Don't even bother about painting. Just fucking get it out of my sight. I don't want to see it.
It's hard to sell yourself when you're extremely ashamed of what you did the night before.
Dude, regret and remorse.
No, look, it's like that's the thing that I've been working mainly on this year is community, because I just being able to connect with fans or like just followers. Like, for example, long time the Mumble Boys podcast fan Bryce he's now part of the streams. Like I played Fall Guys with him. He was part of the drawing stream. Like it's a really random thing to happen that, but I don't like having that barrier of like,
no,
like he can join just because he was a fan. Like I don't understand people that are like, they're fans.
I hate using that word, man. I really hate using that word, especially in what I do with the Kickstarters. I don't call them fans. It makes me sick thinking of calling them fans. It's like they're not. These people enjoy reading my stories. They're doing me a favor by picking up this crap. But I mean, yeah, I've never understood that kind of fandom.
The fan aspect of like fans of like what I do and stuff. I don't know, just the word fans just makes it seem like I think I'm better than them. Meanwhile, Bryce gets on my stream and is 10 times funnier than I am. The guy's awesome. I'm like, dude.
Oh, that's hand in hand, man. He enjoys what you do, and then you get to take something from that as well. And that's the good thing about friendship, man. It is a give take thing. And especially in what we do, we're able to support each other, whether it be picking up each other's art or getting people on, podcasts, what you guys have been doing for a while now. Me having you on to do a comic book or what the other guys, and vice versa. And we all share each other's work. I think that's important in a network of like-minded people, is networking each other's work. And I think, the tide rises all ships. And I think that's probably the way I live by it, is like, if I'm got a group of people who are supporting what I'm doing, that they'll come with me. I'm not going to leave them behind because I've outgrown that. It's a good way. It's a good philosophy to live by, man. I think you're doing a good thing with the whole Twitch thing. It's in the times that we're living in. It's just smart.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I thought it's an easier way to connect with less of a barrier. I feel like with Instagram, there's a barrier because you're considered a follower. Whereas Twitch, you're on the chat, someone's talking to you live. Like, it was it actually clicked to me ages ago when I was like, oh my God, Brendan Urie has a Twitch. And I went on and I wrote a comment, and then he replied to my comment. And I was like, the dude that's saying, I write sins, not tragedies, just read a comment that I wrote and responded like he was my mate. And I'm like, this is different. Where that barrier just shattered. And I was like, that is cool, man.
Yeah, and it does, man.
Yeah.
And it is. You know what? At the end of the day, they're just people as well. You need to kind of remove yourself from the situation. Like what we are, we're just people. We won't change a difference. Even if we were happen to become bigger in the industry, people that knew us prior to that, like, oh yeah, I know him. He's pretty down to earth, pretty normal guy. An experience this year was meeting Kevin Eastman at Melbourne Supernova. And I wanted to get his signature because I enjoy having signatures from the guys that I grew up reading. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give him some comics just to say, thanks for what you've done. You this is your fault, motherfucker. You started me on down this road, and look where it's at now. I'm writing stories about bread. But I said to him, I was like, dude, you basically started the revolution of independent comics, along with the likes of Alan Moore and Grant Morrison and Todd McFarlane, all those guys that did their own thing. Yeah. And I said, like, this is not only just for your sake, but for my sake, as a thank you for what you've done. It was a giddy moment because the guy was a co-creator of the Turtles. But he was appreciative, and I was like, in my mind, I'm like, he's just going to throw it away. But I was like, and he's like, no, he goes, I didn't say it to him, but he's like, oh, this is awesome, man. I said, I've got a 18-hour flight back to LA. I've got some light reading. And I was like, yeah, it's very light. Don't worry about that. And he had a chuckle. And, I don't know if he read them or not, but it was still really cool to be able to hand that to someone who inspired me and inspired many other people. So there is that fandom there, but at the end of the day, these are just people. They've come from very little to becoming guests at conventions.
That's what I want people to think of me. Like, I don't, like, as if I ever get like huge, I'd still want people to come up to me and just be like, "Yo, what's up?" And I'll be like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah. Yeah, just don't be any advice for anyone out there. Don't be a fuckwit.
Oh.
As soon as you're a fuckwit, you're gonna lose that.
You'll get the biggest nothing attitude.
Or you'll get
back.
torn down on the internet, basically. Yeah, that. But yeah, man, you've got the right mentality, and you're doing it. Like, COVID has been hard for a lot of people. And it's about finding new ways of reaching that audience that you have started to build, and you want to keep that connection. Because for us who we aren't in the big leagues, staying relevant is probably more important than ever. Anyone that's big, they don't really have to because they've already made it. But for the ones that are still finding their feet, they really need to keep that audience intrigued.
But even the big ones, like I don't know if you've noticed, but some big stars are now starting like YouTube and Twitch and TikTok.
I have noticed that, and it's kind of funny because they're not nearly hitting the target mark of
No,
what
people are
the
realizing
big
that,
YouTubers.
then they're very disconnected from their audience.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I've seen a lot of YouTube celebrities, people who have made their way through YouTube, and like they've scuffed at the fact that these guys have tried to jump onto their platform and create something, and they're scratching their heads about how they're not getting that reach like the YouTube celebs. So yeah, it's very interesting to watch. For me, I actually thought there would be a lot more people jump on the bandwagon to try and put more content out. But it's been very surprising about how a lot of artists in not just in the comic book community, but in the music industry and I guess in the film industry as well, they've kind of stopped completely. And it's like, you guys, this is the perfect time to kind of... People are hungry for content at the moment, people aren't doing anything.
Now's the time more than
Now, yeah, exactly. And that's like, it's the best opportunity to try and push stuff out there, I feel. And if you don't want to do it, cool, whatever. That's fine. Don't feel like you need to. But I feel as though it's a now or never situation.
Yeah. It really brings out the like survivalist sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like this is a weird analogy, but the way that I see it is someone really gave me some really good advice. They said nothing scarier than two types of, they say men, but they mean anyone. Two types of men. One with everything to lose and one with nothing to lose.
Yep.
And I feel like when you're at each end of the spectrum, you react completely differently. But when you're in the middle, you're kind of just like blasé about everything.
Yep.
That's what COVID has sent people to complete opposite ends. Like,
yeah.
I'm at the end of like, I've got nothing to lose. I really have nothing to lose at this point, you know?
It's all or nothing. It's practically all or nothing.
Yeah. Whereas other people that, have relied on conventions and art stuff have got everything to lose and are also stepping up their game.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting at what's happened. Like people, like you're really finding the fight or flight people that just give up and sort of, move on, or people that adapt and change their ways permanently, the way that they think permanently. And I think that's what's happening with a few of people that we know.
Look, and I'm only speculating here, but I think we've got a long way before we're back to that point in time where, well, not back, we can't go back, but the new normal will be, it won't be, I don't believe it'll be till midway through next year. So we've still got a long way to go. So I think the way that you're targeting it is genius, man, and it's well worth the effort and time that you're putting into it.
Getting me all hyped up. What are you doing to me? I've got to go to sleep soon.
But I mean, that's the thing, man. You are working at creating content and developing your skill set, which you are, and pushing forward with that. And I think that it's upwards and onwards, basically, for what you're doing, man.
One of those things where I want to get out of my full-time job, and any time that I get knocked down in that, where I like hate it, it just fuels me. Oh man, does it fuel me?
I hear, man.
I make, like, because I'm at work, I can't work on certain things, but like I make phone calls to like Zach, being like, "Hey, I got an idea for a pin." It just came out of anger for where I was in that situation. I'm like, why am I being spoken to like this? And in this situation, when I could be doing exactly what I love with awesome people. And after that, I just make a phone call going, "I got this idea." And to be honest, man, the Darth Maul pin came from that.
Yep, and that's good. That's very similar to what I went through before I did my first comic and pulled myself out of the trenches and like, you're going to get your shit together. And the anger will only get you so far, but once you get past that, it's pure joy. It's so much more fun. And it's good to have that anger. Anger is good, despite what Yoda says. I think that it's important to have that drive. If it gets you so far and you can turn that anger into the joy of what you're doing, then it's all for it. So seriously, man, keep it up. You're kicking goals. You are well and truly on your way. There's still a long road, but you're the longest. And I've got a long road too. And I enjoy the battle ahead. We sound like we're Vikings. Got the battle. That was a horrible Norse voice, by the way. But yeah, dude, well, I think I've taken enough of your time. But it's been an absolute joy having you on the podcast.
Thanks. Did you want me to list out like 3 or 4 top comics of mine? Because I feel like I didn't prove myself as a comic lover.
Look, I know it. Look, shoot, why not? Go for it.
You know my top comics?
Look, I'm pretty sure I'm going to say there's a Batman title in there.
Yes. Do you know which one?
The Dark Knight Returns.
It's very cliche, actually.
Oh, Jesus, fuck. Is it The Long Halloween?
Very close. That's not in my top 5. It's in my top 10, not top 5.
Oh, is that Matt's one? Or maybe that's Matt's. Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's The Long Halloween.
It is a good one. It is a strong one. Watchmen. Yeah.
It is Matt's one. That's our common grounds.
Yes. Okay. Good choice.
Watchmen.
Another good choice. Ooh.
The
okay.
Saga.
Yeah.
Saga's up there.
It's always the case, isn't it?
I put some indie ones in there just to prove myself. Hold on, I'm just looking at my.
Okay, I haven't read Descender. I've seen it.
I'm looking at
check it out.
My collection. Descender's good. Oh, Descender's really good. Oh, Batman.
Okay, so there's a Frank Miller one. Yep.
Oh, so yeah,
good
Batman
choice. Yep.
Frank Miller had to be the early Frank Miller, not new one.
Yes, it's definitely a different take on the Frank Miller that we knew to now. So is that 4? Is that 4? 4? 5. That's 5. Yeah, you got 5. It's an interesting choice. You got a couple of indie titles now. I like that. Nice. That's 5. That's 5. That's 5. That's 5. I was just trying to count in my head.
That was 5.
Horrible math.
Okay.
We know you're a comic book lover, Rui. We know that. Just go and follow him on Instagram. Speaking of which, where can our loyal listeners follow you at?
I've got 2 accounts, 2 different accounts. I've got Red Unit Inc. on Instagram, and I've been meaning to try and change my Twitch to Red Unit Inc., but the bastards won't let me. So that is under the Mumble Boys, which is also the name of my podcast.
There you go, guys. Go and check out Rui's work. It is phenomenal. He has been a part of my comic book in Purgatory too, so if you pick that up, you'll notice his glorious artwork for Papa Bawa, the Sex Demon. But
yeah, sorry.
Rui, again, thank you for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast.
Oh, dude, anytime, man.
I hope absolutely. I always enjoy getting return guests to come on and talk more about comic books and more about their experience. But again, guys, thank you for listening to the Halftone Effect. It's an absolute joy being back again, and we'll see you for another episode next week.
Thanks for listening.
Peace. Thanks, guys.